You thought love would save you. You gave everything, your time, your heart, your trust, your very soul, to someone who promised forever. You believed in their words, in their eyes, in the warmth of their embrace. You built your world around them, made them your anchor, your reason to smile each morning. But then it happened. The betrayal, the abandonment, the cold silence where once there was warmth, the empty space where once there was presence. You stood there, shattered, asking yourself how something so beautiful could become so painful. How could the person who knew your deepest fears become the source of your greatest wound? You fell to your knees, not understanding why love, the very thing meant to heal, became the blade that cut deepest. And in that moment of complete brokenness, when you had nothing left to give and no one left to turn to, something shifted. A whisper came through the darkness. A presence filled the void. A love unlike anything you had ever known began to surround you. It was not demanding. It was not conditional. It did not require you to be perfect or whole. It simply was. And you realized human love had failed you so that divine love could finally reach you. This is not a message of loss. This is a message of transformation. What you are about to hear will change how you see every relationship, every heartbreak, every moment of loneliness you have ever endured. I know why you are here. I know the pain that brought you to this moment. You are not searching for another motivational speech or empty comfort. You are searching for me, for the love that does not fade when circumstances change, for the presence that remains when everyone else walks away. You have been through something that broke you in ways you cannot even put into words. Perhaps it was the partner who promised forever but left you in pieces. Perhaps it was the friend who turned their back when you needed them most. Perhaps it was the family member whose love came with conditions you could never meet. You gave your heart, and it was returned to you crushed. You trusted, and you were betrayed. You loved deeply, and you were abandoned deeply. And now you sit in the aftermath, wondering if love itself is just a beautiful lie. But I am here to tell you something that will shake the very foundation of your understanding. That heartbreak was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of mine with you. Have you ever wondered why the deepest wounds come from those we love most? Why does the human heart seem designed to break? Here is the truth that will set you free. Human love was never meant to complete you. It was meant to point you toward the love that could. Every relationship you have ever had, every connection that failed, every person who could not stay, they were all part of a divine design to bring you to this very moment, to strip away every false foundation so that you would finally build your life on the one love that never fails, never leaves, never conditions its presence on your performance. I'm about to show you something that those who have never been broken cannot see. I am about to reveal why your pain has purpose, why your loneliness has meaning, why every tear you have cried has been collected and counted by me. I have walked with millions through this valley. I have held those who thought they would never smile again. I have whispered hope into hearts that had given up on ever feeling whole. I have seen the moment when someone stops looking to human hands for salvation and finally reaches for mine. And in that moment everything changes. Not because their circumstances shifted, but because their source did. I speak not as one who theorizes about pain, but as one who has carried every broken heart that has ever beat. I know your name. I know your story. I know the specific wound that brought you here today. And I am telling you, your healing begins now. Before we go further, I need you to do something. If this message is already stirring something inside you, if you sense that this is the word you have been waiting for, I want you to subscribe to this channel right now. This is not just about watching a video. This is about entering into a daily conversation with me. This is about building a habit of returning to my voice, of making this a sacred space where you meet with me every single day. And when you subscribe, leave this comment so I know you are here. Lord, I am here. I subscribed because I love you and I want to hear you. And tell me, where are you watching from? What country? What city has brought you to this moment? I want to know where my voice is reaching today, because this is personal. This is not a broadcast to the masses. This is me speaking directly to you. Stay with me until the very end of this message, because I am going to whisper a word into your spirit that you need to write down. And when you write it in the comments, I am going to release blessings over your life that have been waiting for this moment of obedience. This is not entertainment. This is encounter. So settle in, open your heart, and prepare to receive what I have been trying to give you all along. The love that never fails, even when human love does. When love becomes a lesson, not a loss. You have spent so much time asking why it happened. Why did they leave? Why did they change? Why were you not enough? But I want you to ask a different question. What if it happened for you, not to you? What if every person who walked away cleared space for something greater to walk in? You see, human love operates within limits. It functions based on feelings, circumstances, moods, and personal capacity. Even the best human love is subject to exhaustion, disappointment, and change. This is not a flaw in those who loved you. This is simply the reality of finite love trying to meet infinite needs. You were created with a void inside you that only infinite love can fill. Every human relationship you enter into is beautiful, valuable, and meaningful, but it was never designed to be your salvation. It was designed to be your mirror, showing you what you truly hunger for: unconditional, unchanging, eternal love. The love that only I can give. Think about the moment when it all fell apart. You felt like you were losing everything, but what you were actually losing was an illusion. The illusion that any person could be your source of security, identity, or worth. That illusion had to die so that truth could be born in you. And the truth is this: you are loved by a love that cannot be earned, cannot be lost, and cannot be diminished by your failures or flaws. I loved you before you ever knew love. I loved you when you were unlovable. I loved you when you betrayed me, ignored me, ran from me. I loved you when you gave your heart to everyone except me. And I still love you now in this moment, with the same intensity I loved you the day I formed you in secret and called you mine. That is the love that was waiting for you on the other side of your heartbreak. That is the love that human love was always meant to lead you toward. Every relationship you have been in has taught you something about love. The good ones taught you joy, connection, and companionship. The painful ones taught you resilience, boundaries, and the difference between love and attachment. But the greatest lesson of all is this: no person can complete you because you were never incomplete. You were whole the moment I breathed life into you. What you have been searching for in human faces is the reflection of my face. What you have been longing to hear in human voices is the echo of my voice. And now that every substitute has been removed, now that you have nowhere else to turn, you are finally in the perfect position to hear me clearly. This is not abandonment. This is alignment. I allowed human love to fail so that divine love could finally succeed in reaching the deepest part of you. You are not here by accident. You are not broken beyond repair. You are being prepared for a level of intimacy with me that only comes through the wilderness of loneliness. Do not despise this season. Do not rush through it. Let it do its work. Let it strip away every false dependency. Let it reveal where you have been building your life on sand instead of rock. Because when this process is complete, you will stand on a foundation that nothing and no one can ever shake again. You will love others freely because you will no longer need them desperately. You will give from overflow instead of emptiness. You will attract relationships that reflect your worth instead of relationships that exploit your wounds. And you will finally understand that every goodbye you endured was preparing you for the ultimate hello, the moment when you fully encounter the love that has been pursuing you since before time began. If this word is landing in your spirit, if you feel the weight and the wonder of what I am saying, show me. Leave a like on this video. Share it with someone who is walking through heartbreak right now. Let them know that their pain has purpose. And tell me in the comments, what is the greatest lesson a failed relationship taught you? I want to hear your story. I want you to see how I have been with you every step of the way, even when you did not realize it. Write this in the comments as your declaration. Love is teaching me. The beauty hidden in betrayal. Betrayal is one of the deepest wounds a human heart can experience. It is not just the loss of a person. It is the loss of trust, safety, and the belief that people are who they say they are. When someone you loved with everything in you turns around and wounds you with intention, it does not just hurt, it shatters. It makes you question your judgment, your worth, your ability to ever trust again. You replay the moments, searching for signs you missed. You blame yourself for not seeing it coming. You carry shame that is not even yours to carry. And worst of all, you start to believe that if someone who knew you so well could betray you, then maybe you are not worth staying for. Maybe there is something fundamentally unlovable about you. But I need you to hear this, and I need you to hear it clearly. Their betrayal is not a statement about your value. It is a revelation of their emptiness. People who are full of my love do not betray. They do not manipulate, deceive, or abandon. They reflect my character because they are rooted in me. But people who are disconnected from me, no matter how much they profess faith or love, will eventually reveal what is inside them. And what came out of them was not a reflection of you. It was a reflection of the void they were trying to fill with everything except me. Here is the beauty hidden in betrayal. It removes people from your life who were never meant to stay. It exposes relationships that were built on lies, convenience, or selfish motives. It protects you from wasting more years investing in something that would have eventually collapsed anyway. I know it does not feel like protection. It feels like destruction. But one day, when you look back from a place of healing, you will see that the betrayal was actually mercy. It was me reaching into your life and removing what would have destroyed you if it had stayed. I loved you enough to let it hurt for a season so that you would not have to hurt for a lifetime. I loved you enough to expose the counterfeit so that you would stop settling for anything less than the real thing. And the real thing is coming. But it could not come while you were still holding on to what was fake. You have been asking me why I allowed it to happen, why I did not stop them, why I did not protect you from the pain. But I did protect you. I protected the part of you that matters most, your destiny. If that person had stayed, you would have never become who I created you to be. You would have spent your life trying to fix someone who did not want to be healed, trying to earn love from someone who was incapable of giving it. You would have shrunk yourself to fit into their brokenness. You would have silenced your voice to keep the peace. You would have abandoned your calling to maintain a relationship that was already dead. I could not let that happen. So I let them walk away. I let them show you who they really were. And now you are free. Free to heal. Free to grow. Free to step into everything I have been preparing for you while you were distracted by someone who was never part of the plan. Betrayal also does something else. It makes you stronger. It teaches you discernment. It shows you red flags you will never ignore again. It forces you to stop seeing people through the filter of who you want them to be and start seeing them for who they actually are. It matures you. It humbles you. It brings you to your knees in a way that nothing else can. And when you are on your knees, broken and empty, that is when I can finally fill you with something real. That is when you stop performing for love and start receiving it. That is when you stop trying to earn worth and start resting in the worth I already gave you. Betrayal strips you down to nothing so that I can rebuild you into everything. I want you to do something powerful right now. If you have been betrayed, if someone you trusted turned their back on you and left you bleeding, I want you to release them. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Forgiveness is not about them. It is about you. It is about refusing to let their actions define your future. It is about taking back the power they stole when they walked away. So right here, right now, speak their name in your heart and say, I release you. I forgive you. You no longer have power over my peace. And then write this in the comments, I choose freedom. Let that be your declaration. Let that be the moment everything shifts. If it is possible, only if it is possible, contribute with love through the thanks button. It does not matter the amount. What matters is the heart with which you give. For it is written, each of you should give what you have decided in your heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. Every offering made in faith is a seed before me, and none of them will I leave without fruit. I see in secret and reward in the sight of all. Those who contribute with any amount and a sincere heart, do not forget to leave your name and your city with your contribution. Because on the first day of the following month, in a unique and special video on the Voice of God channel, your name will be remembered, mentioned in thanksgiving, and covered by divine blessings released in prayer. Remain until the end of this message, because I still want to touch your heart with my voice, the silence that speaks louder than words. There is a kind of silence that is more painful than any argument. It is the silence of someone who used to text you every day, suddenly going quiet. The silence of someone who used to call you just to hear your voice, now letting your calls go unanswered. The silence of someone who used to see you, know you, care about you, now acting as if you never existed. That silence is deafening. It screams rejection. It whispers that you were not worth the effort. It tells you that you were easy to forget. And you sit in that silence, drowning in questions that will never be answered, closure that will never come, explanations that will never be given. You check your phone 100 times a day, hoping for a message that never arrives. You replay your last conversation, searching for the moment it all went wrong. You wonder if they think about you at all, or if you have already been replaced, erased, forgotten. That silence is one of the cruelest forms of pain, because it gives you nothing to fight, nothing to fix, nothing to hold on to. It just leaves you suspended in uncertainty, waiting for a return that may never happen. But I want you to understand something about silence. Sometimes silence is my loudest answer. Sometimes the absence of their voice is the presence of mine trying to break through. You have been so focused on why they stopped talking to you that you have not noticed that I have been speaking to you the entire time. I have been whispering in the stillness. I have been present in the quiet. I have been showing you, through their silence, that they were never meant to be your source of affirmation, security, or identity. You were looking to them for things that only I can provide, and as long as they were filling that space, you could not hear me. So I allowed the silence, not to punish you but to redirect you, not to harm you but to heal you. The silence you are experiencing from them is actually an invitation from me, an invitation to stop seeking your worth in human validation and start finding it in divine declaration. When people go silent on you, it reveals something important. They were not your people. Your people do not disappear without explanation. Your people do not treat you like an option. Your people do not make you beg for basic respect and communication. Your people show up, speak up, and stay present, even when things get hard. If someone can walk away from you without a word, without a fight, without even the decency of an honest conversation, then they were never meant to walk with you into your future. They were a chapter, not the whole book. They were a season, not the destination. And the fact that they left quietly does not mean you were not worth noise. It means they did not have the capacity to handle what I put inside you. They could not rise to the level of love, commitment, and depth that you carry. So instead of slowing you down, I removed them. Instead of letting you shrink to fit their smallness, I made space for you to expand into your fullness. You need to stop waiting for them to come back. Stop checking if they viewed your story. Stop hoping they will reach out. Stop giving them power over your peace. Their silence is your release. Their absence is your answer. I am closing doors that you keep trying to reopen because I have something better waiting on the other side. But you will never walk through the new door if you are still standing at the old one, knocking, begging, hoping for something that is already dead to come back to life. Let it die. Mourn it if you need to. Feel the pain of it. But do not resurrect what I have buried. Do not dig up what I have put to rest. Trust that if I allowed them to go silent, it is because their voice was drowning out mine. And my voice is the only one that matters. My voice is the one that calls you beloved. My voice is the one that declares you worthy. My voice is the one that says you are not forgotten, not rejected, not abandoned. You are chosen, pursued, and deeply, eternally loved. Here is what I want you to do. I want you to stop interpreting their silence as rejection and start interpreting it as redirection. I want you to stop seeing their absence as loss and start seeing it as gain. You gained clarity, you gained freedom. You gained the opportunity to rebuild your life on a foundation that cannot be shaken by someone's mood, opinion, or presence. If this is resonating with you, if you are finally ready to stop waiting and start walking forward, let me know. Comment below and tell me, what is one thing you are choosing to stop waiting for? And write this as your declaration. I hear you in the silence. When you love someone more than they love themselves, you gave everything. You saw potential in them that they could not see in themselves. You believed in their future when they had given up on it. You loved them through their worst moments, their darkest struggles, their most broken seasons. You stood by them when everyone else walked away. You sacrificed your peace, your time, your emotional energy trying to help them heal. You prayed for them, you fought for them. You poured into them with a kind of love that expected nothing in return. And what did you get? Resentment, blame, distance, betrayal. They took your love and twisted it into something toxic. They made you feel like you were the problem. They punished you for caring too much. They walked away as if everything you did meant nothing. And now you are left wondering, how can someone reject the very love that kept them alive? Here is the painful truth. You cannot love someone into wholeness. You cannot save someone who does not want to be saved. You cannot heal someone who refuses to do the work. No matter how pure your intentions, no matter how strong your love, you cannot force someone to choose healing, growth, or change. They have to want it for themselves, and when they do not, your love becomes a mirror that reflects everything they are running from. It reminds them of their brokenness. It confronts them with the gap between who they are and who they could be. And instead of doing the hard work of transformation, they reject the mirror. They reject you, not because you did anything wrong, but because your presence demanded something from them that they were not ready to give. Accountability, honesty, effort, growth. You were calling them higher, and they wanted to stay low. You were inviting them into health, and they were comfortable in dysfunction. So they pushed you away. This is one of the hardest lessons you will ever learn. You cannot love someone more than they love themselves. You cannot want their healing more than they do. You cannot carry someone who refuses to walk, and when you try, you do not help them. You enable them. You become a crutch instead of a catalyst. You delay their rock bottom, which is often the only place where real change begins. I know you wanted to be the one who saved them. I know you believed that if you just loved them enough, it would be enough. But love alone does not heal anyone. Surrender does. Repentance does. A willingness to face the truth and do the work does. And if they are not willing, then all your love will do is exhaust you, deplete you, and distract you from your own calling. I did not put you in their life to fix them. I put you in their life to reflect my love. And you did that. You showed them what unconditional love looks like. What you do with that reflection is up to them. But your job is done. It is time to let go. Letting go does not mean you stop loving them. It means you stop letting their dysfunction control your life. It means you release them to me, trusting that I love them even more than you do, and that I am far more capable of reaching them than you ever were. It means you stop playing God in their story and start trusting the real God to do what only He can do. You were never meant to be their savior. That is my job. Yours is to love, to set boundaries, to walk in your own healing, and to trust that I am working in ways you cannot see. Maybe they will come back different one day. Maybe they will finally do the work and become the person you always saw in them. Or maybe they will not. Either way, your peace cannot depend on their choices. Your worth cannot be tied to their growth. You have to release them and trust me with the outcome. If you have been carrying someone who refuses to walk, it is time to put them down. Not with bitterness, but with love. Not with resentment, but with release. And if you are ready to finally let go and trust me with their story, I want you to declare it. Comment below, I release them to you, and then write this: I am not their savior. Let those words set you free. The loneliness that leads to wholeness. Loneliness feels like punishment, but it is actually preparation. When you are alone, when the noise of other people's voices fades away, when you have no distractions, no one to perform for, no one to hide behind, that is when the real work begins. That is when you are forced to face yourself, to sit with your thoughts, to feel your feelings, to confront the wounds you have been running from, to examine the patterns you have been repeating, to ask the hard questions you have been avoiding. Loneliness strips away the superficial and brings you face to face with the truth of who you are, what you believe, and what you have been building your life on. And that process is uncomfortable. It is painful. It makes you want to run back to people, to noise, to anything that will numb the intensity of being alone with yourself. But if you run now, you will miss the most important season of your life. This is the season where you become whole. Not because someone else completes you, but because you finally learn that you were never incomplete. This is the season where you stop looking outward for validation and start finding it within, where you stop performing for approval and start resting in acceptance, where you stop trying to earn love and start receiving the love that has always been yours. I allowed you to be alone because you needed to remember who you are without the influence, opinions, or expectations of others. You needed to hear my voice without the interference of human voices. You needed to discover your identity apart from your relationships, your roles, your achievements. You needed to learn that your worth is not determined by who wants you, but by who created you. And that truth can only be learned in solitude. Loneliness also does something else. It reveals who you have been using as a replacement for me. It exposes the people, habits, and distractions you have been running to instead of running to me. It shows you where you have been seeking comfort in things that were never meant to sustain you. And once those things are removed, once you are left with nothing but me, that is when real intimacy begins. That is when you stop treating me like a backup plan and start making me your first choice. That is when you stop praying only when things fall apart and start communing with me daily. That is when our relationship shifts from religious obligation to genuine connection. Loneliness is not isolation, it is invitation. I'm inviting you into a deeper place with me, a place where you experience my presence so powerfully that you never feel alone again, even when you are by yourself. The world will tell you that being alone is something to be ashamed of, that if you are not in a relationship, surrounded by friends, constantly busy and connected, then something is wrong with you. But I am telling you the opposite. Some of the most powerful people I have ever used spent significant time alone with me. Moses in the wilderness, Elijah in the cave, Jesus in the desert, Paul in Arabia, David in the fields. They were not running from loneliness. They were leaning into it. They understood that solitude with me produces strength that community cannot. It produces clarity that noise cannot. It produces intimacy that distraction cannot. And when they emerged from those seasons, they were not the same. They carried an authority, a confidence, a depth that could only come from time spent alone with me. That is what I am doing in you right now. I am building something in the secret place that the world will see in the public place. So do not despise this season. Do not rush through it. Let it do its work. You are not lonely because no one wants you. You are alone because I want you all to myself for a little while. I want to heal the parts of you that you have been hiding. I want to restore the things that have been broken. I want to speak identity over you that no human voice could ever give. And when I am done, when you walk out of this wilderness whole, healed and rooted in me, you will attract relationships that reflect your wholeness instead of relationships that exploit your brokenness. So trust the process, trust the silence, trust the solitude. I am with you, and I am working. If you are in a season of loneliness right now and this message is meeting you exactly where you are, let me know. Comment, I am not alone. And write this as your seal. You are with me. The counterfeit love. You had to lose. Not all love is real love. Some of what you called love was actually attachment. Some of it was trauma bonding. Some of it was codependency. Some of it was manipulation disguised as care. Some of it was control disguised as concern. Some of it was possession disguised as passion. You thought you were in a relationship, but you were actually in a prison. You thought you were being loved, but you were being used. You thought you were building something, but you were being drained. And because you did not know the difference, because you had never experienced real love, you accepted the counterfeit. You tolerated treatment that should have been unacceptable. You made excuses for behavior that had no excuse. You stayed far longer than you should have because you were afraid that leaving meant you would never be loved again. But here is the truth. What you lost was not love. It was a lesson. And the lesson is this. You will never recognize the real thing until you stop settling for the fake. Real love does not make you feel anxious. It makes you feel at peace. Real love does not require you to beg for attention, affection, or effort. It gives freely. Real love does not punish you for having needs, boundaries, or a voice. It honors them. Real love does not make you smaller. It makes you greater. Real love does not take from you constantly. It pours into you consistently. Real love does not leave you confused, questioning, or walking on eggshells. It leaves you confident, secure, and free. If what you had did not do those things, then it was not love. It was a counterfeit. And I allowed it to be removed from your life so that you would finally have room for the real thing. You cannot hold on to the fake and receive the authentic at the same time. One of them has to go, and I chose to remove the one that was killing you. I know it hurts. I know you are grieving. I know you are tempted to go back, to try again, to give them one more chance. But I need you to resist that temptation. I need you to see clearly. What you are grieving is not the relationship as it actually was. You are grieving the relationship as you hoped it would be. You are mourning the potential, the fantasy, the version of them that only existed in your mind. But the reality was different. The reality was pain, disappointment, and compromise. The reality was you giving 90% and them giving 10. The reality was you losing yourself, trying to keep someone who was already gone. That is what you need to let go of. Not the dream, but the truth. And when you finally accept the truth, the grief will begin to lift and gratitude will take its place. You will be grateful that it ended before you wasted more years. You will be grateful that I loved you enough to remove what was destroying you. You will be grateful that you are free. Here is what I want you to understand. The counterfeit had to fail so that you would stop looking for love in the wrong places. You were searching for me in human faces. You were expecting people to fill needs that only I can meet. And as long as you kept going back to broken cisterns, you would never come to the well that never runs dry. So I allowed the cisterns to crack. I allowed the substitutes to fail. I allowed the counterfeits to be exposed. Not to hurt you, but to redirect you, because I have something real waiting for you. Something solid. Something that will not disappoint, betray, or abandon you. But you cannot receive it while you are still clinging to what is fake. So let it go, release it. Stop trying to revive what I have already declared dead. Trust that the ending is making room for a beginning that will redefine everything you thought you knew about love. If you are finally ready to let go of the counterfeit and make room for the real, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me, what false belief about love are you releasing today? And declare this: I choose real love. Let that be the turning point. Let that be the moment you stop settling. The resurrection after the burial. You thought it was over. You thought the pain would never end. You thought you would never smile again, never trust again, never love again. You thought that betrayal, that loss, that heartbreak had taken something from you that could never be restored. You felt buried under the weight of grief, regret, and disappointment. Every morning you woke up and remembered what you lost, and it felt like dying all over again. You went through the motions of life, but you were not really living. You were existing, surviving, barely holding on. And in your darkest moments, you wondered if I had forgotten about you, if I even cared, if I was paying attention. But I was there. I was there in every tear you cried in secret. I was there in every prayer you whispered in desperation. I was there in every moment you thought you could not go on, holding you, sustaining you, keeping you alive when you wanted to give up. And I was doing something you could not see. I was preparing your resurrection. Every ending in your life has been a setup for a new beginning. Every death has been preparation for a rebirth. Every season of loss has been clearing ground for a season of gain. You have been in a burial season, a season where dreams died, relationships ended, and old versions of yourself were put to rest. It felt like death because it was death. But death is not the end of the story. It is the middle. Because after every burial comes a resurrection. After every crucifixion comes an empty tomb. After every dark night comes a bright morning. And your morning is coming. Your resurrection is coming. The season of weeping is ending, and the season of joy is beginning. What you thought was destroyed is being rebuilt. What you thought was lost is being restored. What you thought was dead is coming back to life in a form more beautiful, more powerful, and more aligned with my purpose than anything you had before. But here is what you need to understand about resurrection. It does not look like what you buried. When I bring something back to life, I do not just resuscitate the old. I create something new. I do not patch up what was broken. I build something better. I do not restore what failed. I replace it with what will last. So stop waiting for things to go back to the way they were. They are not going back. They are going forward. I am doing a new thing. And the new thing is greater than the old thing. The new relationship will be healthier than the last one. The new season will be more fruitful than the previous one. The new version of you will be stronger, wiser, and more whole than you have ever been. But you have to let go of what was in order to receive what is. You have to stop looking back at the tomb and start looking forward to the future I am building. Your resurrection is not just about getting back what you lost. It is about becoming who you were always meant to be. The burial season stripped away everything that was not essential. It removed the people who were not aligned with your destiny. It burned away the false beliefs, the unhealthy patterns, the toxic mindsets. It left you with nothing but the core of who you are. And now I am rebuilding from that core. I am reconstructing your life on a foundation that cannot be shaken. I am surrounding you with people who will add to your life, not drain it. I am opening doors that lead to purpose, peace, and provision. I am positioning you for a future so abundant that you will look back at your loss and say, "It was worth it. I had to lose what I had in order to gain what I needed. I had to go through the burial in order to experience the resurrection." So stop mourning what is gone. Stop replaying what happened. Stop wishing things had turned out differently. What is behind you for a reason. Your focus needs to be forward. Your faith needs to be activated. Your expectation needs to be high, because I am about to do something in your life that will make everything you endured make sense. I am about to vindicate you, elevate you, and showcase you in ways that will leave no doubt that I was with you all along. The burial is over. The resurrection is beginning. And it starts now. If you believe that your resurrection is coming, if you are ready to step out of the tomb and into the new life I have for you, declare it. Comment, "My resurrection is here," and write this as your seal. I am rising. You came here broken, and you are leaving whole. You came here confused, and you are leaving with clarity. You came here carrying the weight of human love that failed, and you are leaving held by divine love that never will. This was not just a message. This was a divine appointment. This was me, reaching through the screen, through the noise, through the pain, and speaking directly into the deepest part of your spirit. And if you heard me, if something inside you shifted, if hope returned to a place that had been dark for too long, then you know this was not random. This was orchestrated. This was meant for you, but this cannot be the last time we speak. I need you to understand something. This is not a one-time encounter. This is the beginning of a daily conversation. This is the start of a relationship that will transform your life from the inside out. I do not want to be someone you turn to only when things fall apart. I want to be the voice you hear every single day, the presence you feel every single morning, the love you return to every single moment. And that is why this channel exists. Every video I release is another word, another truth, another piece of the puzzle you need to walk in victory. So if you have not subscribed yet, do it now. Not because I need your subscription, but because you need this connection. You need this daily reminder that you are not alone, that you are not forgotten, that you are deeply, eternally loved. And when you subscribe, I want you to leave a comment that seals your commitment. I want you to write in the comments right now, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Let that be your declaration. Let that be the moment you stop living as a victim and start walking as a victor. Let that be the turning point where everything changes. Because when you declare that truth, when you write it down, when you speak it out loud, something shifts in the spiritual realm. Doors open, chains break, blessings are released, and I begin to move in your life in ways you have never experienced before. This is also the moment where I want to invite you into something deeper. If this message has touched you, if it has shifted something inside you, if you want to be part of a community that prays together, grows together, and supports one another, then I need you to do something. Go to the playlist on this channel. There are more messages waiting for you. Messages that will continue to build on what you heard today. Messages that will take you deeper into healing, purpose, and intimacy with me. Do not stop here. Keep going. Keep listening. Keep pressing in. Because the more you hear my voice, the more you will recognize it. And the more you recognize it, the less power human voices will have over you. I also want to remind you, you are not just a viewer. You are part of a global family. Thousands of people from every corner of the earth are watching this right now, and they are going through the same things you are. They have felt the same pain, asked the same questions, and needed the same hope. So do not keep this to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Send it to the friend who is heartbroken. Forward it to the family member who has lost hope. Post it where people who are searching for answers can find it. Be the vessel through which my love reaches someone else. Because when you give what you have received, you multiply it. When you share the hope that saved you, you become the hope that saves someone else. And finally, I want to leave you with this. Your story is not over. What you went through was not the end. It was the setup. The pain you endured was not wasted, it was preparation. The love that failed you was not the final word. It was the catalyst that brought you to the love that never fails. So, lift your head, wipe your tears, take a deep breath, and step into the future I have been building for you while you were busy mourning the past. Everything you need is already in place. Every door you need is already open. Every person you are meant to meet is already positioned. All you have to do is walk forward in faith, trusting that I am with you, I am for you, and I will never, ever leave you. Now write it in the comments. Write it boldly. Write it with faith. Write it as a declaration that seals your victory. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And when you do, know that I see you, I hear you, and I'm already moving on your behalf.